What if a routine checkup for a morning show legend turned into a warning for millions? Gayle King is known for delivering the news, but the diagnosis she recently faced is the one story she never expected to tell, and it's a revelation that could quite literally save your life. Today, we're looking at the diagnosis Gayle says everyone needs to hear before it's too late. For over a decade, Gayle King has been a constant presence in American households, anchoring CBS Mornings with a rare combination of journalistic rigor and deep empathy. She has interviewed world leaders, sat face-to-face with controversial cultural figures, and brought us the most pressing news of our times. But there is a massive difference between reporting the news and becoming it. When you spend your life in the public eye, your body is scrutinized, your absences are questioned, and your health is constantly analyzed under a microscope. Yet, Gayle did something highly unusual for a major television anchor. Instead of hiding her medical procedures behind a wall of public relations silence, she decided to open the doors to the hospital room and let the world see what a life-saving diagnosis actually looks like. The truth is, we live in a culture that values superficial aesthetics over internal longevity. We worry about how we look on camera, how our clothes fit, and whether we are showing signs of aging, while completely ignoring the silent, internal warning signs that our bodies are desperately trying to send us. Gayle King's recent health journey is a masterclass in breaking that silence, and it forces us to confront a reality that many of us are actively running away from. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in a doctor's office and felt completely in control of your health? For most people, medical checkups are a source of deep anxiety, a chore to be avoided, or something we only do when we are already in pain. We tend to operate on a reactive healthcare model. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. But by the time a health issue presents noticeable symptoms, the underlying damage has often been compounding for years, if not decades. This is precisely why Gayle's decision to broadcast her personal medical journey is so revolutionary. She realized that her platform could be used to dismantle the fear, stigma, and discomfort surrounding preventative medicine. She chose to leverage her massive parasocial relationship with millions of viewers, transforming a deeply private moment into a public service announcement. By shifting the focus from idle celebrity gossip to high-value health advocacy, she managed to create a sense of urgency that is desperately needed in a world where preventable illnesses remain some of the leading causes of death. Let's look at the first critical pillar of this journey. In early 2023, Gayle posted a series of candid photos from a hospital bed. She was wearing a standard hospital gown, a surgical mask, and was preparing for a routine colonoscopy. For many, the mere mention of a colonoscopy triggers discomfort, embarrassment, or flat-out avoidance. It is a procedure that is highly stigmatized, yet it is one of the single most effective tools we have in the fight against colorectal cancer. Colorectal cancer is a silent killer. In its early stages, it rarely presents obvious symptoms. By the time a patient experiences persistent abdominal pain, unexplained weight loss, or chronic fatigue, the disease has often progressed to an advanced stage where treatment becomes exponentially more difficult and less successful. Gayle understood this grim reality. She did not just get the procedure done in secret. She documented the entire preparation process, the nervous anticipation, and the post-procedure recovery for her audience. She signed off with a blunt, urgent message. If you are over 45, it is your turn. Seriously, do not mess around. The statistical reality behind this warning is staggering. Colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States. Yet, when caught early through routine screenings, the 5-year survival rate is over 90%. The procedure allows doctors to identify and remove precancerous polyps before they ever have the chance to mutate into malignant tumors. In essence, it is not just a diagnostic tool, it is a preventative cure. Gayle's public vulnerability normalized a procedure that many actively avoid out of fear or embarrassment, showing that taking charge of your health is a sign of strength, not weakness. But wait. What if I told you that this crucial screening was only the beginning of a much larger, far more complex health puzzle? What if the most dangerous diagnosis Gayle King has had to confront is one that cannot be detected by a hospital camera, but is silently rewriting the biological code of millions of people who are watching this video right now? There is a silent, raging debate happening behind the closed doors of elite medical clinics, and it centers on a dramatic transformation that has completely altered Gayle's physical appearance over the last 2 years. A transformation that has sparked intense speculation, public concern, and a massive conversation about what it truly means to be healthy in the modern age. If you think this is just about standard dieting or aging gracefully, you are missing the most critical piece of the puzzle. In recent months, Gayle King has debuted a dramatically slimmer figure, prompting a wave of intense public interest and speculation. This sudden physical shift occurred during a time when the world was becoming obsessed with a new class of weight loss medications known as GLP-1 receptor agonists, commonly referred to by brand names like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. While her lifelong best friend, Oprah Winfrey, has been incredibly transparent about using these medications to manage her weight and combat the biological drivers of obesity, Gayle has remained tight-lipped about whether she has ever used them. Instead, she has consistently emphasized her dedication to intense workouts, daily treadmill sessions, and strict dietary discipline. However, the medical community began pointing out what they call Ozempic face, a term used to describe the hollowed-out cheeks, sunken eyes, and loss of facial volume that often accompanies rapid, significant weight loss at an older age. This phenomenon occurs because when the body loses weight rapidly, it often sheds buccal fat and even muscle tissue if protein intake and strength training are not meticulously managed. But the real story here is not about cosmetic side effects or whether a celebrity is using a breakthrough drug. The real story is the fundamental paradigm shift in how we understand human metabolism. For decades, society has treated weight gain and obesity as a moral failing. We have been told that if you cannot lose weight, it is simply because you lack willpower, discipline, or character. But the emerging science of metabolic health is completely dismantling this harmful myth. Obesity is now recognized by major medical associations as a complex, chronic neurochemical disease. It is a biological diagnosis, not a personal choice. When we look at Gayle King's physical transformation, we are looking at the front lines of a medical revolution that is forcing us to redefine the relationship between our hormones, our brains, and our metabolic rate. To truly understand this metabolic diagnosis, we have to look under the hood of our own biology. Most people measure their health by looking at a single number on a bathroom scale. But weight is a highly deceptive metric. You can have a normal weight and still be metabolically unhealthy, a clinical phenomenon known as metabolically obese normal weight, or more commonly, skinny fat. Conversely, you can carry extra weight but have perfect insulin sensitivity and cardiovascular markers. If you want to protect your long-term health, you need to look at specific biomarkers that paint a complete picture of your metabolic function. The first and most critical marker is fasting insulin. While doctors routinely check fasting glucose levels often remain normal for years, while insulin levels climb silently in the background, working overtime to clear sugar from your bloodstream. High fasting insulin is a direct indicator of insulin resistance, which is the foundational root of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and accelerated cellular aging. The second biomarker is hemoglobin A1C, which measures your average blood sugar levels over the past 3 months. The third is your lipid panel, specifically looking at the ratio of triglycerides to HDL cholesterol. High ratio of triglycerides to HDL is a strong predictor of metabolic dysfunction and heart disease. Finally, you must look at visceral fat, the dangerous type of fat that wraps around your internal organs and releases inflammatory cytokines into your system. This is the biological reality behind the diagnosis that Gayle King's journey highlights. It is an invitation to stop guessing and start measuring, shifting our focus from cosmetic weight loss to comprehensive metabolic health. To put this into perspective, let us look at how this plays out in the real world. Consider the story of a middle-aged woman who, like many of us, balanced a demanding career, family responsibilities, and chronic stress. For years, she noticed her energy levels flagging, her sleep quality deteriorating, and her waistline expanding despite eating a standard low-fat diet and walking regularly. She blamed her symptoms on the natural process of aging and menopause, assuming that feeling tired and gaining weight was simply her new normal. Her routine doctor's visits only involved a standard blood pressure check and a basic metabolic panel, both of which came back within normal limits, so she was sent home with the generic advice to eat less and exercise more. However, inspired by public health advocates who spoke openly about comprehensive screenings, she decided to seek out an advanced metabolic assessment. The results were eye-opening. Her fasting insulin was highly elevated, her triglyceride to HDL ratio was dangerously skewed, and a preventative colonoscopy revealed 2 benign polyps that were promptly removed. By catching these issues early, she was able to make highly targeted lifestyle changes. She increased her dietary protein, incorporated resistance training to build muscle mass, and adjusted her macronutrient ratios to reverse her insulin resistance. Within a year, her energy returned, her biological markers normalized, and she successfully avoided a trajectory that was heading straight toward type 2 diabetes and severe cardiovascular risk. This is the power of turning celebrity news into personal action. Gayle King's journey teaches us that true wellness is never a passive endeavor. It requires the courage to ask difficult questions, the willingness to undergo uncomfortable screenings, and the wisdom to look beyond superficial physical changes to understand the complex biology operating beneath the surface. You cannot afford to wait until symptoms appear to start caring for your body. The diagnoses that save lives are the ones that are caught when you feel completely fine. If you want to take control of your health today, the first step is to advocate for yourself in the clinic, demand the right biomarker tests, and stop viewing metabolic struggles as a personal failure. But metabolic health is only one side of the coin. If you want to understand how chronic stress and sleep deprivation silently sabotage your endocrine system and accelerate the aging process, you need to understand the hidden mechanism that controls your body's master clock. Click on the video on your screen right now to discover the silent hormone disruptor that is keeping millions of people tired, stressed, and unable to lose weight, and how you can fix it today.